What's up, guys? So, here's an opinion that doesn't get said very often, but here it goes. Maybe it's a hot take. Having a newborn mostly sucks. Yeah. And I don't mean that I don't love my kid. I do. I absolutely do. I just mean that the experience itself can be exhausting, overwhelming, and honestly pretty fucking brutal. I'm just gonna say it. When my newborn arrived, I started feeling, well, not right away, but soon after, I started feeling something that a lot of dads feel, but almost nobody talks about. Something that's pretty common, but also deeply frowned upon. And I was ashamed of it. I was embarrassed. I didn't even want to talk about it with my wife. And that feeling is really the main reason I'm starting this channel. Becoming a dad has been one of the most challenging seasons of my life. And in this video, I want to really walk through the three hardest parts of caring for a newborn, in my experience, with the last reason being really the reason I felt like this conversation needed to happen at all. It's literally the reason that this YouTube channel exists. So, let's talk about it openly and honestly. Let's talk about the lowest of lows of early dadhood. The first reason caring for a newborn sucks is sleep deprivation. And I'll be honest, this is something that I really didn't think a whole lot about ahead of time. Not that it would have changed my circumstances, but I will say anytime we told anytime we told anyone that we were pregnant, the first thing that came out of their mouths was something along the lines of, well, say goodbye to sleep. Um, Everyone said it, and they said it so nonchalantly that it just was one of those things that we were like, yeah, of course we're going to lose some sleep. The extent of sleep deprivation is unreal. Um, it affects way more than how you feel. It affects every single part of your life. And I actually found a good article from Harvard Medical that I'll link in the description. Even one bad night can make you moody the next day. Of course, we all know that. But when the lack of sleep becomes chronic, it starts to really mess with your mental health. And that's kind of where this video is going, by the way. Just a little preview there. But yeah, people who consistently sleep 4 to 5 hours a night report feeling more stressed, sad, more angry, mentally exhausted. Optimism drops, sociability drops, and emotional regulation, which is absolutely critical when you're caring for a newborn, gets harder. So, in the article, it highlights that when people do return to normal sleep, those symptoms improve dramatically, of course. Now, people love to say sleep when the baby sleeps. That sounds awesome because babies sleep a lot. They sleep about 17 hours a day or something like that. So yeah, I mean, that would be great if we could get that much sleep, of course. So in theory, sleeping when the baby sleeps sounds lovely. In practice, it's just impossible. There's so many things to do, as you know, throughout the day. And when when you have a newborn and you have to care for them, there's even more things to get done. There's so much more laundry. There's bottles to clean. There's bottles to make, bottles to store. You got to make sure your fridge has got like a clean spot for the bottles. You got to think about dinner, buy dinner, make dinner. The list is endless, honestly. And there's doctor's appointments. We were going every week for the first 8 weeks because our son wasn't gaining weight. So the list is endless. And in my particular circumstances, I have other things to deal with too. Like we have a pellet stove, so I had to make sure we have fuel for the pellet stove and feeding that and cleaning that, walking our dogs, life. So daytime sleep just doesn't happen. And at night, when the baby sleeps, it's so intermittent that it almost feels pointless to sleep at all. And while it does feel that way, it's not, of course, it's not pointless, but it does really feel that way when you're in it. We have figured out a routine, and if you're interested in that, definitely leave a comment. I'll talk about our sleep routine some other time, but anyway, we have figured out a routine. That doesn't mean that we are rested. We are so far from feeling rested, and we're not getting enough sleep. So we're not getting enough sleep, and honestly, I've accepted that I probably won't for a long time. That creates a major problem because, as we saw or read, or you guys heard from the article, sleep is the foundation of mental health. It's the foundation of emotional regulation, And that's really imperative when you're caring for a newborn. This isn't just one or two or three rough nights of sleep leading to moodiness the next day. It is weeks, it is months, maybe it will be years. I don't know. I'm not there yet, but we're in month 5. It is weeks and months of never fully recovering. So you're not just tired. You honestly don't recognize yourself the way that you used to, anyways. And that kind of brings us into number 2, my second reason that caring for a newborn sucks, and that's the loss of identity. More accurately, it might be more of like the loss of autonomy, but they do go hand in hand. So yeah, the loss of identity for me didn't come all at once. Kind of came on slowly. It was like, I don't know, it was like a shadow you kind of notice in your peripheral. You see it there from time to time until one day you just kind of like turn toward it and realize how much space it's been taking up. I remember exactly when that moment was for me. It was when I was out walking my dogs, and up until then, walking my dogs had always been my time. Time to think, time to escape, just my time to be outside and enjoy my dogs. But it wasn't any of those things anymore on this day. It was literally just a walk because my dogs needed to go for a walk. So I wasn't thinking, I wasn't really noticing the trees or the birds, the changing of the seasons, which is my absolute favorite time of the year. And it wasn't because I didn't want to notice those things. It was just because I was drained. I was on autopilot. I was just getting through the days, checking the boxes, making sure the baby and my wife had what they needed. And I didn't have anything left to give to myself. There was just nothing. And that was a scary moment for me because I wondered somewhat irrationally if I would ever really be able to go on a walk again without this like immense feeling of pressure to get back home. So now we're 5 months in. I wouldn't say I've completely lost myself. It feels more like parts of me are on hold. Things that are really important to me. Things that, when I don't do them, I question who I am. They're part of my identity. They're that much part of my identity that I can't do those things right now. So they haven't really disappeared, but they are paused. Everything takes planning now, and even when it is planned, it doesn't really feel worth it a lot of the time. Our son is still so young that we're not super comfortable leaving him with anyone. He's also kind of in the stranger danger phase right now. So babysitter is kind of out of the picture for the moment. Leaving my wife alone with him for too long leads to her burnout, and vice versa. If she goes out, it's just hard to be alone with him for a long period of time. So the autonomy I used to take for granted is just gone for now. There are moments where I really just kind of want to turn the clock back to a time that felt simpler. I want to be really clear about this. That isn't regret. Sounds like it is, but it's not. I don't regret having my son. What it is really grief for a version of myself that just doesn't exist anymore. Even though I chose this life and I love my son, and we wanted this, I wanted this, parts of me are shifting, and the work now isn't trying to undo the change. It's just learning how to live inside of it. And I'm still navigating that. I'm still learning how to figure that out. So when you're exhausted, you're disconnected from yourself, you're living on autopilot, that all brings up a lot of emotions that are uncomfortable, maybe brand new. And sometimes those emotions come out sideways because you're sapped, because you're so exhausted, because you don't know who the hell you are anymore. For me, that sideways emotion was anger, or is anger, and sometimes rage. And that's the third major reason that caring for a newborn absolutely sucks. That's the reason for this video, the rage and the anger that I've experienced. I like to call it the dark side of having a newborn. And it's something we almost never talk about, but we need to. And before I go any further, I just want to make something clear. I do love my son, as I've said, but really I keep him safe at all times. It's my number one priority, of course. So, I do want to go over a few reasons why people don't talk about the anger and the rage that comes up when having a newborn. First, very first reason, I think it's because it's shameful. I personally hate admitting that sometimes when my baby screams, my body gets tense. Sometimes I feel like I want to punch a couch cushion. That is shameful to me. It's embarrassing to me. It isn't responsible of me. The one yelling in my ear is days or weeks, months old. He's innocent and unaware. And he's just trying to communicate something that something is wrong. And if I feel like lashing out, that to me is shameful. I'm embarrassed by it. Yeah. So, it's shameful. And then there's other reasons like judgment and fear. I think those are two big ones, two big reasons people don't talk about this. So some people are going to think I'm a lunatic, that I'm immature, irresponsible, maybe incapable of caring for a newborn. Honestly, maybe I am sometimes. Maybe I am those things sometimes. Maybe we all are at times. But really the biggest fear and the main reason I've dragged my feet with even making this video is the fear of intervention. If people hear the word rage, or hear that I punched a couch cushion, or threw a tube of butt paste at the floor, that happened. They might think I'm unsafe to be around my baby. Meanwhile, my heart aches when my wife kills a bug in the house. I'm just being honest here. I put them outside. I don't kill them. So yeah, I think there's a line between throwing an object and hurting an innocent creature. I know that line can be thin, and that people can cross it quickly and sometimes without realizing it, which is why I've gone to great lengths to make sure that I don't express rage inappropriately. It's why this channel exists. Talking about it openly feels like one major way to keep myself accountable. I've also put other measures in place, and that is going to be the entire topic of my next video. How to express rage appropriately, how to deal with anger in the moment, things like that. So definitely stay tuned for that next video. But yeah, so let's get into some more reasons why people don't talk about this real quick. Another big reason people don't talk about this is because of a cultural myth that babies are pure joy. They are not. But we are shown of glowing parents, instant bonding, overwhelming love. And for many people, that is true. Most people, I would say that those moments are real and are true. And I think especially for mothers, in my opinion. But I don't want to perpetuate a stereotype that mothers are those things all the time, because mothers feel anger and rage and all those other emotions as well, of course. So, but anyway, I think for a lot of dads, there's another side, and that side fucking sucks. It's when the anger comes out and we just don't know what to do with ourselves. So yeah, when my son was born, it was unbelievable. It was weird. It was wild. I've never seen that before. And it was kind of indescribable. My entire universe shifted. There was me before he popped out, and there was a me after he popped out. In that moment, it was incredible. It was a joyous moment. But pretty quickly, I was just exhausted. My wife and I had already been at the hospital for 3 days, and I just wanted to get the hell out of there. And before we left, there was this dread that came over me that when we got home, I still wouldn't be sleeping. I still wouldn't be back to normal. There was going to be a new normal, one I wasn't really ready for. And I don't think you can really be ready for something like this. It's something that you learn while you're in it. Like probably most things, but this is especially true for having a child. There's so much to it. So, I was exhausted, I was scared, uncertain, all those things. And even though I'm in awe of my son, negative emotions do have a way of kind of overpowering the positive ones. So when you're sapped and you're disconnected from yourself and you're living on autopilot, rage is easy, man. Rage is very easy. I don't want it to be easy. So that's why I'm making this video, and I want to list off all the things that trigger me, and I want to hear what triggers you guys. So here we go. I'm just going to kind of go through the things that really bring me to anger pretty quickly and have pushed me over the edge to rage, throwing tubes of paste and punching a couch cushion, stuff like that. So when I try to comfort my son and he just escalates, he's maybe getting fussy or he's crying, and I go to comfort him and he screams, or he just continues and he's just not getting any better. I'm tired when this happens. It hits my ego hard. Like, it feels like maybe it's something wrong with me, that I'm not doing something right, especially because oftentimes my wife can comfort him very quickly. So that kind of goes into one of my second reasons, when my wife is in the room and I can't calm him down, but she can. So it makes me feel insecure. I'm getting a lot better with this, I will say, but definitely in the beginning it made me feel insecure and inadequate. Over time I've kind of accepted that she can comfort him in ways that I can't, maybe always. And now I actually appreciate it, because when I know when it gets bad, she can kind of come in and take over. Just when he's inconsolable and I'm alone. That's pretty rare. Honestly, he's not, he is a little bit of a fussy baby, but he's not inconsolable. He's not colicky. But when it does take longer than I want and I'm alone, my emotions do spiral much faster. When there's something that I want to do, like just basic stuff, maybe eat or sleep. Sleep is a big one, of course. But whatever it is, if there's something that I want to do and he just won't settle down, that's kind of tied with me having like an expectation. If I have some sort of expectation that he's going to sleep after I feed him or whatever, and he doesn't, that really messes with me. So that kind of goes into what I'm going to be talking about in my next video. But when you have those expectations, I think it's harder to kind of manage your emotions when something just doesn't go your way. Scream crying directly into my ear. Noise is a big trigger for a lot of people. It is for me. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that one. But yeah, that's a big one. When I'm bored or burnt out, just kind of pacing my house, entertaining him, and then he starts fussing. Like, why? What is it? So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Being a parent is a level of hard that I didn't know existed. I really didn't. It's made me realize just how badass single parents are. My wife and I feel like, are barely hanging on most days, so I have no idea how single parents do it. At least my wife and I are doing it together. I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, so those are the 3 top reasons why caring for a newborn sucks, why having a newborn sucks. I'm just going to say it again. I think a lot of people can relate to that, and I'm not saying that it all sucks. There's definitely happy moments, especially when they start smiling and laughing. My son is just newly there, and there's a huge shift emotionally for me. So anyway, it doesn't all suck, but it really does suck a lot. And I'm here to talk about it. So what got you guys angry this week? How did you handle it? What did you do? Did you handle it well or not so well? And just as a little disclaimer, or a major disclaimer, if you are experiencing rage that makes you want to hurt someone, your kid, your wife, yourself, anybody, go seek counsel. Talk about it with somebody, probably a therapist. That is not a failure if you're feeling that way, and if you go to talk about it, that's a huge strength. So I just want to put that out there, and thank you for listening. Give me a like, subscribe, that'd be great, because I'm here to talk about this stuff in an honest way, and I don't think a lot of people are. So thanks so much for listening.